Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Paladins Premier League. It's time for esports, and it's 3 p.m. That's the time we start every day now this week with our new schedule, so make sure to stay tuned and catch us here where all your action starts. Today, we're looking at Europe. Myself, Evan Rainey Rayner, Nick Keogh, pretty here on the host today, and we've got DreamHack fast approaching, although it seems like it's a little bit away. It's really only, 5-6 months, Nick, before this thing's here?
Yeah, just barely. It's going to, already having the tickets open for you guys to grab. It's a little bit of a different style this year because we're partnering up with DreamHack. It's not its own standalone event as it has been in years past. Like we said, tickets are on sale now, highresexpo.com, same place you're probably used to scooping them from the years past. November 16th through the 18th. Smite and Paladins will all be there.
Get your Drake tickets for afterwards. We party and then go party and listen to
See, that's what I'm hoping, dude. I know we're in a different spot this year, but the main event party after HRX at Cobb, man, it's the crown jewel of HRX.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like maybe we get tickets to the Drake concert. Everyone who has got VIP tickets is now a VIP at Drake's concert.
Nabil's going to buy out the Mercedes-Benz Stadium right next door to the World Congress Center. We're always going to party there.
If you told me that, I'd be like, oh, wow, he did that. Because Nabil does crazy things
Wouldn't put
like
it past
that
him.
as well, especially here at Skills Shot. Today is going to be a fantastic day. We've got a schedule arising. We can show you a little bit about who will be playing. It's a doubleheader, FNATIC style. Mousesports, Not As Zero will be their opponents in FNATIC. The winners of the last two PPL seasons, the winners of the Paladins, basically the PPL Spring Finals LAN, are going to get a chance at redemption against Na'Vi, who beat them at the Masters LAN just 4 days later after they took them to a best of 7 and won the prize to culminate this PPL season. It's a huge day for FNATIC, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good matchup, especially with that big roster change with Lazy coming in. If I'm being honest with you, I frankly expect FNATIC to be able to take this one. If they don't, I think it just says something incredible about Not As Sincere. A team like FNATIC who just continues to stick together and perform like they have been, I think you have to give it to them. They have that synergy already built and rolling there. It's a question of where and how will Lazy fit
and
into
also,
this Na'Vi lineup.
FNATIC have never really been having issues basically not online. Online they are fantastic. They win every game. They're basically 15-1 in PPL history, online competitive play as far as the season goes. So we would definitely put all bets on them. They would be favored, so to speak, in this series, like the Golden State Warriors against the Cavs tonight. Ouch.
It ain't over till it's over.
Ouch. Yeah, it's not. That's for sure. And with guys like Bittner, it's going to be hard, and I think to continue fighting is one thing that I think is admirable of Cleveland and all those who face FNATIC in this regular season. Do you think Na'Vi with Lazy are going to have a chance, though, a better chance maybe than they had with Unbi in the lineup?
I think so. I think they wouldn't have brought him in for a reason, especially a team coming off a literal land victory like that. There had to be, I think, some merit to the reasons. They kind of gave their reasons why in a post from some of their managers. And bringing in Lazy like this, it's clear that he's bringing something new, a fresh take. Maybe it's mechanical skill. Maybe it's an attitude adjustment. It's got to be something.
Yeah, and really a difference in how they like to play the game, which can be something that can change your season, as FNATIC have shown. They took on the triple DPS, the solo healer, the solo frontline. That man, Jera and Theo, combining to be one of the most deadly frontline and support duos in the world right now in Paladins esports, and that catapulted them to so much success. They were leading, they were favorites in every tournament they played in, only ended up capturing 1 out of 3 lands, though, in May, and that stung. They said it would have to be both if it was going to matter, and it wasn't both.
And when you have back-to-back events like that, everyone remembers the last one, right? Everyone's probably going to forget the PPL Spring Finals, if we're being honest. The Masters LAN is what's going to leave the taste in everyone's mouth. And at that event, Not As Sincere were champions, not FNATIC.
Not As Sincere now obviously climbing up their ranks as far as trying to finally take a PPL season win, doing their best to compete. They've done well. They've always been basically third throughout their time. And however, with NIP kind of dropping off, not being in that game, really settling in for the third spot, Na'Vi have gone to that first place, and they were the ones to take Masters and claim it as their own. They took Worlds. They taken the 2 biggest tournaments this year, and somehow, sometimes, these guys just show up. There was a really interesting note about why they let Kevin go. Unbelievable. And it was really just about something that had been happening for about 5 months prior. Just the team didn't have the same style of wanting to play, the same feeling about the game, the same camaraderie, so to speak, as they were hoping for. Even though they were winning, they made this choice for for the health of their team for the future.
Yeah, and you could hear even in Phoenix what he kind of was saying is that, when we're all here, when we're all together, that's when the team is healthy. But, offline portion is such a big, 60, 80% of the season. If you don't have that synergy being built during the offline portions and no one wants to be a player and no one's as passionate all across the board, then problems will arise.
And so, of course, that's the big matchup we're really looking forward to. That's our final game of today. But starting out, we have Mousesports heading into the arena, so to speak, with FNATIC. And Mouse have been looking pretty good, I think. I really loved their set against Virtus Pro. They come out on top. They grab a win. Sephi Cloud looks good. I think NTBs feels confident about his guys, and I expect them to put up a fight.
Yeah, they looked about the same personally to me as they were in the spring split. I frankly expected them to come out a little harder against Virtus Pro and probably get that victory a little bit easier. But that being said, I think it's only up and up for these guys. If they continue to improve and they continue to just have a solidified strategy, if it's Koa on that third DPS, as long as they continue to kind of specialize labor, so to speak, and get better in those specific roles, I think they soon will be contesting NIP.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. And again, we often had a chance to look at Virtus Pro play and didn't know whether Mouse had really just stayed the same-ish, or Virtus Pro had stepped up, and maybe Mouse had stepped up as well. This will be a good kind of caliber test, so to speak, litmus test, see how they do. We have the maps ready to go and get this started. Mousesports and FNATIC will be your match of the starting part of this day. FNATIC banning out Stone Keep, Mouse taking away Ascension Peak. And Frog Isle is where we will begin. A tough map to take FNATIC to, who are so experienced on dominating teams on this map.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm looking out for in the P's and B's here is FNATIC picking up Eevee or not. That wasn't a factor at LAN. She had some issues on the LAN client, but that, to my knowledge, isn't the case on the online stage here. So she will be back in play, and it was a huge part of FNATIC's success, I think, during the online. And during Frog Isle was one of the very first maps that she did poke her head back out.
I completely agree. I think Eevee should be a conversation piece, at least for FNATIC. And with Khan, being so banned out, with you kind of transitioning as well from the Mave bans that we saw so heavily yesterday and even in day one of the EU PPL, you would expect there are some more champions online. We've seen Shaolin and Cassie open a lot. We've seen Makoa open a lot. But it's going to be the Strix FNATIC sticking to their guns and saying, let's at least force the issue here. But it's an early Eevee from Mousesports.
And we saw this come out a couple times from Doodle earlier on against Virtus Pro. And so you have to imagine that it has to be contested here against FNATIC. You can't let that go for free. It's a good pickup as well. I'm excited for when we get to see the Khan and the Eevee actually come through together. I think it's going to be a really, really nice synergy. The Battle Shout is just like a perfect little dropship maneuver for Eevee to go in and get so much bonus damage. And she's right on that tipping point, right? It's like having Over the Moon without having Over the Moon, and it gets you into that really awesome time to kill spot.
Genos will be available here if they do want her. And the Ashe taken, this is something we saw attempted, and I actually liked the call for it. Click you running that on Splitstone Quarry. Didn't end up working out for them in that game. They ended up losing, but I think this new buff to Ashe is a secret, really big boon for her ability to contest backline champions. And if we see him play that way, I'm trusting NTBs to hopefully at least apply some pressure.
Yeah, and I think it's going to work for those guys like Kliku, like Zulu, like NTBs that have played it in the past. And she wasn't that far out of viability already. And having that little extra bump, that's all that moved her out of the meta. So having those little nudges
shouldn't
upward
be much to move her back in.
Exactly.
It doesn't feel like there was really enough warranted there. And I think Buck, he is picked up. He's clearly jumped into a tier of, I'm almost seeing him every single game. But let's get it started. FNATIC in their doubleheader, facing Na'Vi later, facing Mousesports now. Game one on your way. Let's send it to Gabby and Gore for the cast.
Hey guys, welcome to the caster's booth. FNATIC and Mousesports about to face off. As they said, I'm Gabby. This is Gore, Tigers, William, whatever you want to call us. Yeah, I thought so too. But he clarified, I guess, by being Gabby and Gore. Who knows? I don't know. We get mixed up all in here. But what we're not mixed up about is the fact that we have this match ahead. FNATIC making their first appearance within this split doubleheader, and it's two very different vibes between the first match and the second. And
could you have given them a better draft for their first game? Like, I feel like I like where Mouse went with it. And if you took that team, if you like just kind of block off what FNATIC have, it looks like, oh man, this could be really fun. And then you look at what FNATIC have, and it's just like, what are you going to accomplish here? You have three flanks on Frog Isle against a sniper, against a Shaolin, up against the Mave as well. So there's a lot of damage on FNATIC that really can shut you down unless really Andrew Doodle can come through and have like this spectacular performance, I don't know where this entire comp lies.
And NTBs is going to be on the Ashe. We've seen plenty of Inara from him within the recent matches, and Ashe coming through a little bit this week, starting to remind people what her name is after being away for so long. But Bittner is on the Mave, making the statement, and that's one way to try and get people to forget Ashe's name once more. And Sepacloud just seemed to resign to his fate in that moment. The whole team eliminated.
She left there about as fast as she left the meta when that bonus damage was taken off of Slugshot. Like, that was literally night and day as to where it could be. That shield does nothing. Mave is just going to eat through this health bar. And again, this is kind of just the dream draft. You do get moments like that, though. That's going to be the glorious thing because of that extended range, that 100% now that Ashe has. You can shoot a Mave out of the sky as long as you hit that shot.
And not a lot of damage on each shot, but if the rest of the team is focusing on that target as well, sometimes it's just enough to finish it off. NTB's picking another one up onto Fasheko, but FNATIC still on the objective. Inara standing strong. Thiel always comfortable with this type of positioning, but a trade back and forth nonetheless.
Ooh, Eevee going to be able to stay alive at least for a little bit. Bugsy going to be able to clean that one up. Now getting locked down, looking for it. The counter is going to be good, but is it going to be good enough? One more arrow is all you need. That billow lasts forever, and Fasheko's not going to chase it down.
And he's back after he healed up a bit, but still only about a shot away from death. Thiel's going to be the last one for that, but FNATIC end up getting the first capture. It's time for them to push. Even with the picks that were just taken on their side, I think they're feeling fairly comfortable with how this is going.
And being able to go into it, again, you have one sniper, the other one was banned out, no Kinessa, so you don't have much contest in terms of your range. You have a Shaolin on your side, which I think does the best job at covering any range that he needs. It's like, okay, well, Mave will be up close. Mave can also do some stuff like that, shenanigans that can get you a little bit further range. Shaolin can get in your face, he can shoot you from far away, he can just be perfectly happy in the mid-range. Either way, it's still going to be a lot of damage, and when they're all collectively together, it is just very difficult to deal with.
I do like me some shenanigans. FNATIC going full force with this. It's just such a clean performance from them currently. Theo with this positioning to completely blockade actually separates the two members, so they get eliminated.
I want to say that Theo may or may not have assisted killing off Fasheko.
If there weren't another one of his members on the other side.
That wall would have been great otherwise, but as it stands, it doesn't matter. They're going to take a little bit of a breather room, move back. A 12 streak right now for Theo, 5 burning there for Jera, but they're just waiting a little bit. A minute left. This payload's gone extraordinarily far, and there's going to be 2 kills to immediately get them right back on it.
And Koa, just because he needs to get out of the situation, forced to back up, which leaves him vulnerable to more shots. That's just such a sucky feeling when you're like, I only have one mode of escape, and in that moment, Bittner getting the last hit, I think NTBs knew what he was potentially in for, but FNATIC, they're looking like FNATIC, that's for sure.
That's definitely the way they go, and this is one of the teams that we've talked about specifically, you know, at LAN, where it always seems to be they can almost get to the top, but they just always seem to just slip away in the grand finals for that last month. But when it comes to online phase, they look dominant. Na'Vi gives them trouble, and that's actually one of the things later on we're going to see kind of where do they stand against each other, because if they play the online phase today the way they played the entire last split, they have no worries.
And I think that's why when predictions are made going into each week, and we're all kind of leaning towards FNATIC for both of the matches they have going today, it's because of the fact that when they are playing online, they just look so zoned in on the prize, right? And this is just a perfect example of it. You actually see NTBs throw down the assert dominance in the middle of the rest of the team, but Koa gets caught out. Bugsy getting the last hit. FNATIC still just picking off one by one. There's a Zen looking for a little bit of solace around the side. Billows to safety, but he's still going to end up getting tracked down. Even if he doesn't get killed, he is still just not where he needs to be.
I hate to say it this way, but that was honestly like best case scenario for Mouse, save for the one thing that is this Inara, who was standing on the point while they were the ones who were pushed back. FNATIC got 66% even though they were locked in their base.
So Andrew Doodle ends up getting a double kill, but is answered by the double kill from Bittner. So FNATIC, that's the thing. Every time Mousesports seem to get a little bit of something in their favor, FNATIC is ready to match it and then some. So 54% achieve for Mousesports with that comeback mechanic, but FNATIC looks ready to lock this in.
And that was a lot of good initial play, I want to say there. Mousesports actually approached that fight in a really great way. The Master Riding, I'm a big fan of the way they're going about this, because it's just, we know where we need to get our flanks at the beginning of the round. We need them to be just past the point so we can take some control. The problem is retaining that control, and that's kind of where things have been faltering for them. They get there, and then they get pushed out. If this Maeve gets a double kill like that, you're not going to be able to hold on to anything.
And just such synergy between all of them. You saw the way that Koa got picked off after that Dread Serpent. And Andrew Doodle, a great Eevee, and showing a lot of that prowess with the double kill here, a double kill there, but Bittner is ready to answer on the opposite side along with the rest of the team. And that is what Mousesports is having a hard time contesting. It's not just one player or two players, it's the unit.
It's rough, I think, in all worlds. 1950 health. That is not a lot of health on the back of Maeve. And yet, when she gets away with one shot, when you're able to do something like that and stay alive the entire time, you know you're having a good game. Up 3-0, FNATIC. I mean, their draft is pretty much the dream draft for their team.
Repeating the same strategy as before as well. Thiel sent himself to the spawn doors. Fasheko keeping a good distance where he can still land these shots right into the head of Koa. And now he's looking for another target. Popping that heat haze, finds NTBs in tandem with the rest of the team. And that's 4 down for Mousesports. Time and time again, they're getting team wipes. They're getting 4 down, even as low as 3 down at some points. But Mousesports have shown strides in their play. It's just FNATIC obviously have that bad taste in their mouth getting taken down at the end of Masters.
I guess they're mad about losing. They don't like losing. This is a team, I mean, they went out and you couldn't get a word out of them because they were just reflecting on what had happened. This is what happens when you take a team that wants to be the top and give them second place.
Now look at this, 30 seconds to go on the push, and Bugsy always great on whatever he happens to appear on. Always that piece needed for whatever FNATIC needs him to flex on. And with that, FNATIC get a quick victory in game number 1 with the 4-0.
I feel like we were hardly here before we have to go back to the desk.
All right? Yeah, it wasn't long. Oh, okay, back in frame.
It was just, I mean, a solid draft. You get the Inara, which anybody who's going to solo frontline is going to tell you that's the person they want. You get the Maeve, who does a lot of damage. You can give a comfortable Strix in the back line, and then a Shaolin that's, at that point, you pretty much have free reign because Maeve and Strix are going to keep you safe.
Jarrett can hit Dread Serpents like it's nobody's business, so all of them working as we expected FNATIC to do. So let's throw it over to the desk after game 1.
Game 1 or... I mean, could you call that a game?
Round 1.
Round 1. You know, I don't know, man. That looked like they were playing solitaire, really. There wasn't an opponent. They were just fighting against themselves and how fast they can move that payload.
FNATIC are a really good team.
Yeah.
That's what I've got for you.
Well, you know what I've got is that more on Mousesports. They didn't look comfortable, and they looked overwhelmed as a young squad. And sometimes this happens when you're young. You have a lot of things to pay attention to. You have very high respect for the team and the players that you're playing against, and you sometimes lose track of the fact that you actually have good matchups if you play confidently. Zen into Maeve, Buck into Maeve. Those are the 2 flanks that can do okay against Maeve because there's no 800 damage pounce when you have 40% damage reduction. There's healing onto it. The Cybate can counter her burst damage, and 850 into Maeve hurts. The problem is Bittner just outplays everybody there, and the overwhelming presence of Bugsy, and I think Fasheko as well, is too much for Mousesports to deal with.
Bittner isn't the only one on the battlefield. That would have helped Mousesports, and you know, they get the only sniper into no sniper. They get Maldamba and Nara for the objective. They get the strongest flank in the game in Maeve, and they get Shaolin, who is arguably bannable in some sets. So
yeah.
No holes in the draft whatsoever from FNATIC. They have been a very, very solid drafting team.
Yeah.
That's reflected, and at the end of the day, they are the better team, cut and dry.
They are. And, you know, I think if you're looking at those slash lines, didn't look good on sides of Mousesports earlier on. Andrew Doodle goes 0-4 on a basically a first pick Eevee, you know, and Cybe is 2-4 on that Zen. Koa's 1-6 on the last pick Buck. I would have liked maybe a little bit of a pip there, maybe some more control. You could at least deal with the Inara, get her out quickly, snowball some fights a little bit better. It was just a very tough matchup for them. But map 2 is already on the way as we get a chance to get into this set a little deeper. FNATIC doing what everyone expected, which is winning handily here in this Mousesports set. But Splitstone Quarry could tell a different story. I'm not sure if they will allow their prey to be any differently, though, as the ban for the sniper. I would expect FNATIC follow suit there as well.
It's hard to run FNATIC's race against them. You know, it's just hard to keep pace. They play so fast, and that's why that 3 DPS comp has always worked for them. Now that it's in flavor, it's like people just struggle to basically keep up. Very frontline heavy bans coming out here. Maeve doesn't make it through. Neither will Makoa, Terminus, or Khan.
And you would almost assume that there might be some type of sniper preference here, but FNATIC with 2 snipers open, I don't think are worried about that. They like the Inara. And here's the Cassie as well. Shaolin and Cassie available. But they're going to go for the Zen. They're feeling very confident about that, despite not really having the best performance with it on Frog.
Yeah, part of it is, I think, getting Bugsy off of it as well, who's probably one of the better Zins in the world right now, just for his ability to run it in any circumstance and still get his job done.
Yeah, that and different talents as well. You have to look at that. And it deals with the Inara. It does. It's okay into chasing down snipers. It's okay into chasing down Eevee. Zen is just a good champion. I don't see any lineup where I say I don't like Zen there. But Fernando is going to be a good front line that gives NTBs a little bit more flexibility. Ash was melting a little faster than he wanted on that one.
Definitely was. There was a lot of angles to be played. Maeve went right over the shield or through it for the most part. Shielding is not the answer to Maeve. I don't know exactly what is the answer to Maeve. That's why she's banned out more often than not. Almost the same lineup here for FNATIC. Swapping out a Maeve for an Eevee, and that's not going to slow Fisheko down much or Bittner.
And I wonder how much it was of the respect of saying, you know, I don't want Eevee in the hands of Fisheko. I want to take it away. And maybe Andrew Doodle doing that says, let it go. Just let him play it. I have to play something I'm feeling really good on today, and that might be the bomb kick for him.
Yeah, he's much more likely to hyper carry this with a Luminary Royal Subjects King. I like the choice here for Mouse.
Awesome. Not a lot of shields to work with. That cauterized Bomb King that I've been so scared of should be showing up here for the Doodle. Let's send it back to game 2 for Mousesports and FNATIC.
A very strong start for FNATIC in game number 1, and Mousesports is going to be spending their time playing catch-up.
I will say, I kind of like, it feels like Mousesports are using this time, because this is one of the rare moments, I guess, when you get, especially as a team that, even though you know you're going to play FNATIC twice, you're like, okay, we guaranteed have this many games to play against them. Let's see what we can do that might work against this top-tier team, so that when we play against the teams that are closer to where we are as Mouse, we can actually just stomp them.
Because it wasn't a draft that I was expecting from them in game 1, and here we are where there are still some comfort picks, as they mentioned on the desk. Maybe on this Bomb King going to have a little more success. But FNATIC's looking very comfortable too. Just a slight change to their draft from game 1 to game 2. And Fisheko, it's the fishy Eevee. Plenty always talked about there.
And you have to wonder, you know, you ban the Maeve so that they don't have it on the side of FNATIC. And then you give Fisheko Eevee. And then you have to wonder, is that actually a trade that's worthwhile? Like, yes, okay, you're not dealing with Maeve, but now you have to deal with probably one of the best Eevees in the world. That is going to be incredibly difficult and is going to be perfect for, say, taking out anyone like a Cassie who might hang around in the back line.
And that's exactly what he's trying to find. See the positioning of everybody on the side of Mousesports already going early to that back. Knows where Cassie is, takes some heavy damage right off the bat, though, and Cybe 8 gets the first blood.
And that's good calls from Mousesports. Once they see him, once they isolate him, they know you're alone as Fisheko. Kill him off, get rid of him, make this a 4v5, and it makes it a lot easier to start dealing with Thiel, start dealing with Bugsy. Keep them kind of staggered the entire time, and as long as they're fighting this perpetual 4-3v5, you are set up.
So far, that's the strategy they went for. Then they went and collapsed upon Thiel and Mousesports onto the objective, where that's the thing about this type of composition from FNATIC is once you take down Thiel, it does leave you an opening to at least try to match what they have accomplished so far. But here he is. He's back. He's ready to stand his ground. So is Fisheko.
And now you can see Fisheko playing it a little bit more, not necessarily timid, but safe, making sure he doesn't put himself in a bad position just for the sake of trying to find a kill. And it's helping him a lot. He's got a lot of free damage, and everyone's kind of locked in this room. It's going to be some nice shots. Andrew Doodle one away from death, and they're going to be able to pick that up with Bugsy.
Turn around. It was too late.
It was too late.
Yeah, Fisheko was right there. He saw that 2 people from Mousesports were in that side cubby, shot them in the back, and that was a team wipe. So FNATIC, they get this capture. Time to move on forward. And this is what allowed, look where Thiel is. He's over here just bullying right into the faces of Mousesports.
Again, these fights, I like the way the Mouse are approaching it. I think their calls at the beginning are correct. And then it just comes down to, and this is the rough part, how mechanically gifted FNATIC are. When they have the champions that they're most comfortable with as well, they can do things where they just naturally react. They don't even have to worry about certain scenarios or maybe not knowing the champion, because it's just an extension of themselves at this point.
It looks like Mousesports, knowing the pressure that they're under right now, Andrew Doodle even waiting a bit of time before he popped out, knowing Thiel just used his seismic crash, and here's actually an ice storm as well, backing off, trying to find the right angle to throw it down with FNATIC, but Pacheco, he gets the double kill, he gets the cleanup, and is looking for more blood. Sees the Cassie, there's one shot, maybe there's two, misses it, and there you go.
And just being able to find that is part of what makes a good Eevee so fun to watch. I mean, he's all over the place, but locking down these shots, being able to get a lot of triple kill picked up through all that, and he's looking to continue on this streak.
Yeah, that was just a great sequence of events from Pacheco. Great prioritization of your targets. Right now, FNATIC end up pushing that through in about 3 minutes if you're counting the time and spawn and everything. But everyone just pulling their weight. See the way that Bugsy is able to consistently hit these shots. And there are moments where Mousesports, because targets are in multiple locations, they have to have their back to one of them.
And when you get moments like that, it's really set up where, I mean, Bugsy, with all of the effort he just put into that, essentially brought his team back. It feels like if it hadn't been him, it would have been Pacheco. If it wasn't either of them, it would have been Bittner. And if it wasn't them, it would have been Jared. Like, somebody would have taken that role to open the point back up, and he's the one who stepped up there. 6, 2, and 3 is Pacheco. 5, 3, and 2 right now is Bugsy. And so they're doing as much as they can for this team. This is looking pretty solid.
The fact that Bittner has yet to die, which means you look over at the side of Mousesports and you think, okay, whose job is it to take care of the sniper and take care of that back line? And why are they having such difficulty? And then you look back over at FNATIC and you say, oh, well, Bugsy and Pacheco are kind of just locking everyone down that attempts to get that way.
Yeah.
Koa right now can't find any safety, and instead of going and targeting those that are on the objective, has to look towards Pacheco.
And just being able to divide the attention. I mean, Cassie has not had any presence on trying to attack Thiel, and they've got 75% like it's nothing, and still standing on the point, still standing over there. They finally lose Bugsy, but again, Koa is just separated from his team.
Looking for Koa still, though, even with that separation. That's where you have to make the decision. Do you go and try and seek that target, or you turn back to where the rest of the team is onto the objective? 75% to 39. So it's not one and done just yet, but here's actually the flash move right long, so it caught onto a couple people.
Now going forward, Cephacloud's going to go down. Bittner had 2 right there, so the aggression is starting to come out. Andrew Doodle, unfortunately, in this position where he does get a kill, but the point is left open, and he is left alone in the middle of Hungry Sharks. And they chomp down.
Yeah, Flashbang, Dread Serpent, Seismic Crash, Heat Haze, everything came out of the woodwork right now, and just take that with an Ice Storm onto the high ground, too. But those are ultimates that when you use them at that moment in time, they secure the objective, and it gives them plenty of time before they can actually worry about having time to charge it up. They can get it, maybe even throw it out at the end of the round for closing the game.
Bittner has solid positioning, kind of keeping track of people. Nice shot. Barely anything showing there for the Bomb King. But all you need to do is hit it. It's going to be 1,200 damage for free. And again, it's just kind of keeping Mousesports corralled more than anything. It's just, you're going to stay right here. This is where we want you. This is how we as FNATIC are going to be able to approach this fight, because we don't have to worry about you coming up beside us if I keep you all in one room.
Just all these threads, needle, everything is just looking so clean for FNATIC. And I think that's in a lot of this, that's just what you got to say. Yeah, a missed shot here or there, but who doesn't when you're moving around the map like that? Pacheco picks another one up onto Andrew Doodle. Attempt with the spite, but still, FNATIC are the ones coming out on top with the kills.
Really good shots. Pacheco looking to get aggressive here. Beast has the shield up, so that's going to stop a little bit of the damage, but the problem is that they're only stopping the damage. They're not stopping the payload right now. And again, I feel like Thiel has had the easiest job in these last couple games. This has just been, look, Jared's going to pocket heal you. Just go stand on the objective for a little while. That's all you need to do.
And then on the opposite, I feel like the last couple times I've heard the spike go off, one, Saibei ended up dead, the other one didn't connect with anyone, and here we are, 3 down for Mousesports. Bugsy getting the double kill. Pacheco, he's looking for a target, sees that somebody is right by the spawn doors, doesn't manage to get the kill before he goes back in, but goes to the sky, and FNATIC gets the victory in game number 2, another 4-0.
And again, it feels a lot like it was one where Mouse, if you just look at their draft isolated, it's a solid draft. But you look at what they give up for it, and especially who they're up against that's getting that, and it's just too much comfort, too much good, I guess, on the side of FNATIC. They get a lot of the top picks, as well as a lot of the things that they are known for. and that just becomes a dangerous equation.
They themselves weren't running a sniper, but there was a sniper on the opposite end that was firing away, and FNATIC, I mean, what can you say? They're hungry. So, Evan and Nick, what do you have to say?
Well, day 3 of the PPL is looking a little different than the other days. We have seen 2-0s, but I don't, for some reason, think this is going to be a reverse sweep in the way of Mousesports. FNATIC, everything we expected.
Top seeds starting to crawl out of their caves after their downtime. These matches are going to start going a little bit quicker here. FNATIC look indomitable. I think it's almost like when you watch cartoons as a kid and there's like a character that has like 4 leaks to plug and he's like putting a foot in one, fingers in the other, and then this one over here, now this one's spraying me in the face. It's like,
and you know the boat's going down.
No matter where there was defensive efforts, I think FNATIC do such a good job at just backing up and not being prideful about wanting to take any unfavorable matchups. We saw Bugsy back up a couple of times. You saw Fishy back up a couple of times, and then the rest of the team just moves in to punish the retreat.
I think the problem was they were backing up, and Mousesports should have been the one backing up. They had a sniper to aggress on, and they just stayed back. They let their Cassie, who, admittedly, that's your kinetics on point for the Inara. That's your damage and burst as well to help change that fight, so Koa has a little bit of an easier time. You know, admittedly, he has Brand, but you love that damage into Inara. A couple of shots, and then he can win that matchup, force steal away. Cassie literally just looked at Fisheko for about 2 minutes. Koa's
he left her
point
cross-eyed.
fights. Yeah, Koa's point fights were just staring at Fisheko. He ulted to find Fisheko, then Fisheko killed him. It was a tough start to the round.
To be fair, this is what happens when you don't look at him. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Not a clear answer for the Fishy, who's swimming through the skies once more on his favorite character in the realm. And my goodness gracious, running a lot of soar reset on his kills, so that's why he was able to just rip through this team fight so quickly and just make that double kill into a triple kill. Almost gets a quadra as well.
Yeah, and to me, you know, Mousesports, it's hard to tell whether they have the talent when I feel like they're getting out-drafted here against FNATIC. And that's the hard part about FNATIC and Na'Vi. They kind of put you in a bad spot before the game starts to say, we've got this little thing that if you don't do anything about, it's going to win the game. So you're going to have to figure that out on the fly, and we're so good in our other roles, there's not going to be an easy way to figure it out. As we head into map number 3, it's going to be up to Mousesports to try and just change the dynamic here. Maybe get a Stigala versus a Stigala, take one away, get both snipers off the board so you don't have to deal with that. Bright Marsh probably not something to worry about.
The only reason I think Na'Vi has a chance against FNATIC and why they have beaten them in the past is just because they have the firepower to match them. FNATIC are so good no matter what they end up on in the draft that it's hard to outdraft them. It's hard to not get in your own head about what does this next pick have to be for us to take these guys down. It's about getting them off of something that they're just not super comfortable with, and that is damn near impossible.
And that's also the question in their headspace. It's something that shows up at LAN, and that's continuing. No matter how well they do in the offseason or in the PPL, when LAN comes up on the 19th to the 22nd, they're going to have to question that. That's going to be in the back of their mind. Man, we've let a few big ones slip. We can't let this one slip now. Makoa giving the FNATIC.
And that's kind of the story, right? Crap. Bittner's Mave just tore us apart. Ban that. Jeez. Just almost got quadra killed by Fishy Zevi. Ban that. Oops. Now Theo has Makoa.
Yeah.
Can't ban them all. You know, they have to pick something, and it's just how good of a team they are. No matter how many champions you churn through, it still looks scary.
And I hate to point out, you know, things that are not working well, but you need more from a Cassie. You need more from a Buck. If Koa's going to triple DPS, this team has to really feel confident with how they're approaching that. And maybe it's just the passivity. Maybe it's just the ability to get aggressive that they're missing. But I need to see more if I'm going to look at this Mousesports team as having a shot to really even approach an IP at this point. You know, heading into these future sets here. And Androxus, he's going to get locked in. This is FNATIC's, wow, mixing it up here a little bit.
Ace in the hole, definitely changing the pace here for FNATIC to go double front line for the first time this set. And they do get the Makoa, but they have a Drogos Andro, which is not exactly common for them. The Andro specifically is going to be a big gear shift, and this just will kind of prove if they continue to dominate.
I love it.
With this type of draft, it just doesn't matter. There's really no more hope for Mouse at that point.
And I mean, I really like it. The fact that you can grab an Andro anytime, any way in this meta. You can always play him on Bright Marsh if he's available, and you can make it work. I love it. So it should be Bittner's Andro and having not Saib on this ruckus, but a lot of flexibility on FNATIC. Can Saib and Mouse turn this thing around, get some kills, and get themselves going? Let's find out as we send it to our casters for Game 3.
I will say, after watching patch notes earlier, I wish that we could see the Androxus skin.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing about the Mace skin earlier on. I was like, man, this would be a perfect showcase. Like, I just want to see the daggers in action.
Yeah, but this is game 3. FNATIC could just go ahead and close it out. And like the desk said, I don't think a lot are expecting Mousesports to pull it back. Who knows? But the way the draft was going and the way that they banned away based on the performances earlier on, I feel like they're already a little frazzled.
Right now, I'm kind of curious because FNATIC have stepped away from what would feel like a FNATIC draft, kind of towards, I want to say, like the meta of old. But it's not a bad draft either. It feels really comfortable for where they're going and what they're doing. Ruckus is really good on this map. And just good in general, as long as you have someone who can play him really well. Of course, you give Jera the Genos. Bittner on the Androxus, and this is the one I think I'm most excited to see.
And why are you excited for this one?
I mean, mainly, Androxus can do a lot of crazy plays, and on this map he has a lot of getaway potential and get-in potential, especially like the 40% movement after using Nether Step and the increased distance on it means that he can traverse this map like no other. He's going to get around like crazy, and I think that's going to cause a lot of interesting scenarios for Mousesports. Not the best scenarios for them, but some interesting ones.
Already taken to the sky, flicking away. Andrew Doodle goes down as Bittner just flutters right down
Stuff
to
like
the
that.
ground.
That's the example.
Yep, you take out Maldamba, you take out a Cassie, as Fisheko gets the credit for that one. Oh my goodness. Everyone just is going ham onto Mousesports because you also got Fisheko on the Drogos, which has been some really fun play.
At that point, I kind of wish Fisheko had stopped shooting because I feel like that was Bittner going in for a punch. I feel like he was going in just to show out the one-hit KO. That I guess isn't really the one-hit KO since Drogos is the one who has that, but now they're just setting it up, and that's the perfect way to start this fight. You take them down 1, 2, 3, they're down their core members, and all of a sudden you're just sitting on the point. You can zone them out like it's nothing.
And there you go. It's captured. Time to push, and Bright Marsh can be some of the quicker games that we have seen in the PPL have been on Bright Marsh just because of you get that capture in that enclosed area, you blockade all the doorways, try and get past that windmill, and once you do that, then bring out your ultimates and your Gucci. But there is this good old spite that ends up inside 8's death.
And just the positioning right now. Ruckus is literally playing tower defense, except he's aggressing with it. He's standing still in one spot on the map and just using the miniguns. Every now and then a rocket comes out. He is a living turret with the way Bugsy's handling it right now.
This is just crazy because even at the point where Fisheko just killed Cassie, but didn't even have to look to see and make sure that that was done. Just went, threw it out, and turned around, and then you see in the kill feed that she's down. You think that's just so much confidence in your play and your accuracy that we're loving to see from Fisheko. We're loving to see from Bittner right now.
That was a showcasing. Like, that's something you'll notice a lot of people, that counter comes out. That was beautiful, Fisheko. I have to interrupt myself to make sure that people recognize how gorgeous that was. But you get that moment where counter is always that one where players never know, do I shoot now? Do I shoot now? Same thing with Billow. Billow you can extend usually, but that was, all right, I'm going to hold this revolver right here. It's down, bang, headshot. Yep. Like, it didn't even have a chance to, like, get to his side for the sword. And so with the way things are going, everything's good. And this is a very big thrust loadout coming down. I mean, I like the thrill of the hunt cooldown being reduced when you get the killing blow, so you can just stay up in the air all the time.
And the fact that Fisheko and with that in combination with Bittner, both taking advantage of all those angles, I feel like Mousesports haven't really had many places that they can run and hide, and that's why it's just been kill after kill after kill for them. Here is an attempt for Mousesports to figure out where FNATIC are right at the start of the round. They send to the objective early, get that 23% comeback mechanic in their favor, but Bittner, he flies high once more, throws some damage back, and looking for some final shots onto these damage dealers.
And just look at how much time he's spending up in the air. He might as well be Drogos with the jetpack. He's actually doing it better with the way he floats down. Going to be able to get a lot, not much from the accursed arm, except for zoning, which keeps Mousesports from getting on the point.
Andrew Doodle picks one up onto Bittner, and Koa as well, so at least some little action, but here's a Dread Serpent. Mousesports, you got to check and make sure that you're getting the tremendous value off of that, but it's a 3-for-2 trade right now. Fisheko with the 12 streak, rains some damage into the Inara, handling it with Thiel by his side, who actually popped the Ancient Rage, but a good wall, at least for the bit of time, until NTVs was taken out.
I think this honestly comes down to the point where, again, you're playing probably the roughest game, not necessarily because of the players you're up against, but, well, actually because of the players, but not in game, but in picks and bans. You take out two of the things that have been demolishing you the last 2 games, and they just pick up more things to make them look good. This is just the showcase, I think, for FNATIC to show exactly why they are this team that went undefeated during the last split.
3rd point captured for FNATIC. Looking to make this a 12-0 in points as Bittner gets another double kill. Looking for another hit onto Cybe 8, but luckily he's able to billow out. And you see some similarities to the last game where Mousesports, there's damage coming from so many angles that they don't know where exactly to look to keep themselves alive to find the main target because there's just multiple main targets.
Trying to go around, Dragon Punch available, Hexafire available. I don't know if we've seen a big Hexafire come through, or any Hexafire come through with the way things are. You almost have the Accursed Arm charged up, so FNATIC, with 2 minutes left, have plenty of time to charge up what they need to try and close out this push. And with the way things are going, they're going to keep the ball rolling, especially with reversal hits like that.
They've accomplished so much even without the ultimates. Bittner, another double kill for him as Fisheko going right around the swamp's edge.
There's the save.
He had to Dragon Ball. All right, maybe we'll go ahead and find someone. Ends up getting just shot out of the sky by Andrew Doodle. Oh, I'm so happy we were able to see that. There's a spite just to run right across that final area as Mousesports attempt to hold this. But here's the Hexafire from Bugsy. Shoots himself around, gets a double kill of his own, and last minute Dread Serpent, but it's not enough. So FNATIC with a 12-0 in this 3-0 set.
Definitely a strong way to start the day, considering they have one more to go through against a team that has now beaten them regularly and several times, given them the most trouble, I'd say, against Na'Vi. Mouse hopefully being able to walk away with this with some learning experience, but FNATIC didn't give them a lot of study time.
I think Mouse, they're going to look back at it and hopefully figure some things out, but it's really difficult when you're going against a team like FNATIC where there's not a lot of holes to poke. They got picks they were really comfortable with. They felt good about their play. But with that being said, let's send it back to the desk to break down the set.
Thanks, guys. Really not much to break down. It was just a dominating performance. It was, it was
time for Na'Vi FNATIC.
It was go to your room. It was a timeout. It was no car for the weekend. It was just taking the keys away. You can't play. And it was exactly what, this also gives me a little bit of a heads up into next set because FNATIC have come out swinging. I don't care if that's Mousesports or not. There's some moments Mousesports can get a point, get a defense on FNATIC. It doesn't look like they're allowing that this time. They have something to prove, and I'm a little worried about Navi's chances heading into next set.
They're already the dominant team on the line, right? So I think we're already expecting, or at least I am expecting FNATIC to be able to win this game over Na'Vi, especially if Na'Vi are having trouble fitting in Blazy, if he's maybe getting off to a slow start. I know he's kind of a nervous guy, right? If he doesn't get off, I think hitting the ground running, it's gonna weigh on him, on his conscience a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time he's played against Fisheko and his Bittner? I mean, sure, he plays them in casuals all the time, maybe some scrims, but we've been at LAN for, like Umby said, 26 days out of the last month. It's been a minute.
And Lazy hasn't even played like the last couple of weeks in the spring split.
Right.
To throw that all in there.
So it's been a minute. Guys, we are excited for this set. It's the marquee set of the day. And unfortunately, Mousesports go down there after a great win they had on Tuesday. But we're going to see more FNATIC coming up against Na'Vi. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the game.